Good afternoon, guys. Today is Thursday, and I'm here with ARJE Jackson, a proud member of the African American gay community. And we're going to be doing a series of videos that we're going to discuss topics about current affairs, issues in our community, just various things that we're going to discuss. He's a very active, proud member of our community. You want to give some of your background, what you've done?
What I've done for the community? Well, I have a forum on Facebook called Single in the City, where we're trying to get a number of single black men in Atlanta and trying to answer some of the real in-depth questions about why they may be single and how they're contributing to their lives.
How long have you guys been doing that?
For 2 years.
Okay, so you're not single, you're in a relationship.
I am now in a relationship.
How long have you guys been together?
2 years.
2 years, okay.
Yeah.
Well, today we're going to discuss the coming out process and some of the challenges so many African American men face coming out in our community, the issues, the envy, the jealousy, the hatred, and the positive stuff of coming on out of the closet and being free. What was your experience like when you first came out? What do you remember how old you were when you first actively started being involved within the black gay community?
I would say it was in 94, maybe around 95 when I first moved to Atlanta. And it was not to be gay, because I really didn't even know Atlanta was a gay city. So
Kind of shocked when you got here, huh?
Not necessarily shocked, because I came from the Bay Area, Oakland and San Francisco.
So you used to a lot of gay folks?
Not so much. But it didn't shock me, because I still was prepared, because I already knew who I was, even though I wasn't ready to step over the threshold into it. But I still was prepared. So it wasn't like a shock to me, because I'm from New York, so it wasn't a shock. I've been around gay people for the majority of my life. So.
How old do you think you were in 1994?
Yeah, I was 22, 23 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it was a very interesting concept when I think back at it, because I was under the impression, because I was stepping into myself, that I would be welcomed. And, I was slighted more so than welcomed. And that surprised me.
When you say you were slighted, give me a little bit more detail. What happened?
People were just not as welcoming as I anticipated. Other black gay people, yes. And I think it had a lot to do with maybe the whole sexual thing, because I think oftentimes when I would meet people then, if you weren't delivering the goods, let's just say that, so they were not as interested in you. And if you didn't have a certain acclamation into the community or accolades into the community, then you were not a part of this particular society. So it was pretty much kind of interesting to see the dynamics of the different types of gay people and where you would fit into that. And if you try to get in this lane, how those people would let you know that you don't belong in this particular lane.
Kind of like Mean Girls part?
Almost so much.
Okay. So you're a 24-year-old kid, you're dealing with these crazy people within the community.
Crazy.
Were you depressed? Were you angry?
I was never depressed. I think we talked about this before, because it all comes from your own personal growth, whether it's spiritual or whatever. But a lot of it had to do with the fact that I had a great upbringing. So I wasn't always dependent on, I know that a lot of people in this lifestyle are dependent on the lifestyle to define who they are. I mean, it's a part of the examination process. But for me, it wasn't. So I wasn't depressed. I never lived in a depressed state. I still continue to be myself. I continue to be the kind person that I feel like I'm. I never allowed.
In the face of this anger, or what's the words I'm looking for? You're facing these problems in the community. Because I can imagine you probably meet guys who were probably attracted to you that you may not have been attracted to them, or
they had motives. Like I remember befriending a group of guys. They were all from Cincinnati, Ohio.
I'm from Cincinnati.
And so that was my kind of like.
Well, I graduated high school from Cincinnati. I'm really from Gary, Indiana, but I graduated high school in Cincinnati. So I'm very familiar with Cincinnati.
Okay, well, I'm not, even after this story, I don't have anything bad to say about Cincinnati, but those guys really painted a horrible picture of, it was a very interesting, again, dynamic. And I never classify myself as very witty or none of that. So they were very witty.
Reading each each
and doing
other,
the reading thing.
Oh, yeah.
And so at first I thought it was comical. I said, okay, so to me, coming from the straight environment, I'm thinking they, playing the Jones, doing the whole Jonesing thing.
If you're not familiar with reading, is when another gay guy will read you, or what's you just said, Playing Jones?
Playing Jones for the straight people.
They will pick out a feature. Like I was always teased about my big nose. Or back then, there were certain things that the other gay guys would kind of rip you apart about, and other people sit around and laugh.
Oh, yeah.
And it starts off funny, but then it can get
very mean.
It can be very mean and very personal.
Yeah. They're rooting for the gods.
And you end up having these fights and arguments, and I've seen some people literally I've seen people get shot over a reading session.
And I just never understood it because I knew at the beginning, I knew that it was coming from a place where it wasn't genuine. I knew it was coming from a place where it was being very mean-spirited. And so at first I didn't know that because I just wasn't privy to that type of environment.
It can tear you apart.
It really could. And I could see. And so luckily I never allowed it to be that way, but I was introduced to that. And I was introduced to a group of people who did stunt and writing bad checks. And me thinking because I was benefiting from it, that it would never happen to me, but it did.
They stole your checkbook?
They stole my credit card. I came home from work one day, my entire apartment was cleaned out. I had nothing.
They stole all your
They stole all of my furniture.
These were your friends?
These were people who I considered to be my friend, but I was still wary about them. There was something in my spirit to say, I know you're benefiting from this because, it was kind of interesting. It was fun because it was during the Versace days and everybody was wearing Versace and Donna Karen, and so I was intrigued by that because I was young and hell, I didn't know no better. So, but once you get burned once, that's all you needed, and so that was my experience. And so it didn't make me bitter, but I became a lot more aloof. I set myself aside from the gay community. I was one of those people who would peep in from time to time, but I never just completely submerged myself in the gay community.
The gay community has a very high suicide rate. If you weren't a strong person during those years, I came out when I was 18 years of age in 1989. And I must admit that during those early years for me, I was not as strong a person, but I ran into the same issues and problems that you ran into. But I was just able to, I witnessed quite a few of my friends commit suicide because you're gay, you have no support from your family, you don't have any support from people you think are your friends. They're backstabbing, there's jealousy, there's envy, there's hatred, they're stealing your stuff. Yeah. There's all this myriad of problems. And my theory and take on why these problems exist in the black gay community, might exist in other factions of society, but self-hatred.
Yeah. There's a lot of self-loathing in this community. And it's a legitimate, response to a lot of things that are going on in a lot of, especially black gay community, just in the community, just a lot of different things that are getting thrown at them. I mean, even from the moment that they realize they're gay and they have to tell their family that they're gay, or their family may even feel that they are gay. So they're, constantly being berated.
Religion, the church, the black society. Question. Do you think it's gotten easier for young black men today in their late teens, early 20s?
You think they would know?
Has it gotten easier? Are they still going through the same problems you and I had when we were first coming out, or have things gotten easier, do you think?
I think it's different. I don't know if it's easier or more difficult. I think it's different. The only reason why I feel like it's different is because I'm not young, so I really don't know really all of the different things that they're going through. But with that being said, I think that they are facing their own challenges that people in our age bracket, because I'm in my 40s, probably are not privy to, because we're not, I can't imagine being juxtaposed, the person that I am now, and having to deal with the things that the young gay guys are going through right now.
Through some mess.
Because, and honestly, I really blame our community, our generation, for not really going back and letting those guys know this is how, you pretty much navigate within this society. If you want to be a whole person, if you want to be a successful person, if you want to be someone when you're 40 where you're not jaded and bitter because of all the things that you allowed to happen to you when you were in your 20s.
Are there a lot of bitter black gay men out there?
I've run across my fair share of bitter and jaded African American gay black men. So, with that being said, there's still a lot of positive.
There are a lot
of us who did not allow those experiences to define who they are today.
Gotcha. I went back to the gym today.
Oh, congratulations.
I've been out of the gym.
Well, I'm seeing it. Bam, boom. Well, I'm glad,
I need to be holding time.
I only decided to do these interviews with you if you had agreed that you were not going to be naked, because typically
I was not going to be naked today. I put the shirt on. But I went back to the gym today. I hadn't been out of the gym for 2 months.
Okay.
While I'm there working out, a lot of straight folks come up happy to see me, hugging me, glad to see me. Walter, you okay? We heard you were hurting an injury. How are you doing? How is life? How are you? The gay folks ran from me. They literally saw me, looked at me, rolled their eyes, and walked in the other direction. What is this?
And you're surprised.
Why do we have so much anger, bitterness, jealousy, envy, hate? I mean, because I don't know the words to use. Maybe you can give me some better adjectives or verbs to describe this that takes place in our community, where a guy who doesn't even know you will look at you, roll his eyes, and walk away. Because this has been going on for years. Mm-hmm. Before I was on YouTube or Facebook, this problem has persisted. I get along better with straight men than I do gay men.
Yeah. Well, I did see that in action for you, because I know we saw each other this past Sunday. And when you came to speak at the park, I saw how the people just kind of ran like you were a plague, and they just dispersed. And, you know, collectively, we probably know a number of people here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And so I was amazed, because, I watched some of your postings throughout the year, and I would have to say that many of them, I was just like, I don't know who this guy is and what his point of view is and why he's doing this, but I don't like what he is saying. Now, I don't know you. Gotcha. And I've even said that on a number of your posts. Like, I don't know you, but I don't dislike you because I don't know you. But I definitely don't like
to our different opinions about our lifestyle and living our life. I think most people misunderstand my posts and videos. I try to get people to talk. I might throw a post out there to get people to have a debate and conversation. I might screw it a little bit just to piss people off.
Right.
But I want them to talk, have a conversation, debate, whatever the topic is that I've decided I'm going to create this little, scene about, or this rant or rave about. But we're all entitled to our opinions, so even if my opinion is different than yours, does that mean you have to hate or dislike me?
Well, I mean, you may not have to, but a lot of times we don't know how to assess our feelings. A lot, especially men. So with the fact that we don't know how to assess our feelings, we go straight to the most negative thing that we can feel, because no one has taught us how to assess our feelings and our emotions. When I didn't like what you said, I didn't immediately just decide that now I'm going to dislike somebody based on what they said, because you've never done anything to me.
Exactly.
So a lot of people don't know how to marinate with that. But with that being said, we come from a society where, currently anyway, to be nasty to one another is lucrative. And I know that you are, for lack of a better term, provocateur. Let's just say that. And you like to provoke in the way that you come across. And for a lot of people, they don't understand that the underlying foundation is that you really are. I mean, I've only garnered this feeling about you after we've had a number of conversations, because I've called you a what kind of whore did I call you?
Intentional whore, all kinds of stuff. We went at it.
Oh yeah,
we had our problems.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't say we ever had problems.
We say problems. We had our issues with
we've had a little issues and challenges.
Listen, I remember I came to a meeting that you had one time.
Yeah.
And I went to that meeting. I had a little bit to drink, and things got a little out of hand.
He brought Walter. I don't know. Walter may have a number of alter egos, but the one that he brought there had to be shut down. Because it came across, and I think a lot of people would agree with me, sometimes you come across very disrespectful about the very thing that you represent. Okay. And so a lot of times that is disheartening for a lot of people, and they also don't understand how can you be so belittling on one hand and be the exact same thing that you are belittling. Mm-hmm. So your energy about it is one whereby it is not nice, it's not kind.
But again, my whole sole purpose is to get us to, because you remember when I walked in there, the conversation immediately took off, because I wasn't even in the room 1 minute, and the conversation was great, went on for a little while, people were getting emotionally involved, which is which is a good thing, because now we're getting the truth now. How do you really feel about relationships, your partner, your whatever? It was about relationships that we were discussing there. And some of these guys really, they were young, they hadn't been through the experiences that you and I had. And I'll be very honest with you, I thought you were much younger than me when I first got there. I didn't realize that you were the same age as me. We were going at it with all these different opinions and stuff. But I think the bottom line is I just feel we have to respect each other's opinions. Even though if I'm a Democrat and you're a Republican, we don't have to hate each other.
We don't have to hate each other, but I'm going to be honest with you. That particular day, you brought a sense of disrespect whereby you did not appreciate everybody's opinion. Your opinion, when you brought it to the floor, it pretty much negated everybody else's opinion, and that's why I felt like, okay, now I don't know who this big rascal is. I know I'm a little dude, but I ain't no punk now. And so I was like, we're someone else's house.
Because my opinion is more direct.
No, it appeared, now just for me, now I don't know about everybody else, but for me,
probably on the same boat with you.
It was not the directness, because I think that I can come across as direct, but it was just so bitter. It was a bitterness, and I don't know, it was an anger.
Well, we were discussing, I'll give you an example. I don't believe in monogamy. A lot of them guys were sitting there saying that they believe in monogamous relationships. Well, I've never seen one. So I'm not going to sit here and lie and say, yeah, I believe in monogamy, and it's going to make your life great, when I know that shit don't really exist. And people got angry about that. Why were they so pissed? Because my opinion, I don't think monogamy I think it's a false dream. I don't think it's something that's really real. And I don't know if you remember the debate that went on about monogamy. There were other debates, but they were basically, just my opinion. I wasn't trying to force my opinion on these guys. I mean, I just think that, I don't know, maybe it's because
you shove a huge spoon down people's throats. You do not baby feed people. You shove, and a lot of people can't handle it all at one time.
I agree.
And so the immediate reaction to that is to be offended. Okay. And so when you're offended, you put up defenses. And so a lot of times that's what people are doing, and that's how they're responding to your post. But I personally think that, Walter is a very kind-hearted person after speaking to him and really getting to understand where he was coming from. And I felt that there was a lot of things that we agree on. Maybe how we get to that is a completely different story. But what we agree on typically is a good large percentage of things that we do agree on. When it relates to the Bible. Now, monogamy, that's a whole other situation, because I do believe I cannot dictate onto other people my life experiences, because my life experiences has taught me that monogamy is possible. Now, is it against nature? Yes, I do believe that, because as mammals and as human beings, I do not believe that we are wired to be monogamous. I think that's a societal.
Force monogamy into a relationship to make both partners, you're going to only have sex with me for the next 30, 25 years. See, this is my theory. I think relationships fail because when you put this monogamous situation into a relationship and you say this is the only person you can have sex with, especially when you live in a city like Atlanta, it's tough for this one person to only desire to have sex with you, especially if you're at 20, 25, 24, 20, you're in your 20s. So my theory is, I can't tell a grown man what he can and cannot do with his penis. Mm-hmm. All I want is respect and love. If you can provide me those two things, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to see it. If something's going on, I can't do anything about it anyway. Every relationship I've ever been in, somebody snuck off and cheated on me. So it's kind of like, well, let them go do it.
Okay.
And then I'm not saying that I approve of them doing it. I can't do nothing about it anyway. So why would I get myself upset or in my relationship just because this person may or may not have had sex with someone else, especially if half the time you can't even prove it, because of course the nigga gonna come home and say, I'm innocent, I didn't have sex with him, I didn't cheat on you.
Well, I think monogamy is about trusting people and having a commitment, and maybe I think we should focus mostly on presenting yourself in an authentic and honest way to your partner and establish a commitment as opposed to harping on monogamy, because everybody's relationship is different and your commitment is different, and whatever understanding, let's just say if you and I were together, whatever understanding that we have, nobody else has to understand, because it's nobody else's business. But however, with that, there are still people who believe in monogamy, and it may be based on society, it may be based on their religious beliefs, or however that may. So that's why you have to find you someone who is, as the Bible states, equally yoked in your beliefs. So if you believe wholeheartedly in monogamy, then you need to find somebody who believes in that same principle. Now, the lying and the cheating, that's a completely different story, because my thing is, if I'm coming to you real and say, I believe in monogamy, and you say to me, I do too.
You know how many guys have told me they believe in monogamy and they want a monogamous relationship, that they went out the back door and did?
But see, then it's not about monogamy. But it was not. Then you realize it was never about monogamy. It was about them not showing and coming up authentic. Them not being honest with you and themselves.
Well, at that point in my life, could they have even been honest with me and said, "Well, Walter, I'm seeing somebody else. I cheated with somebody that I met at the gym or whatever." At that point in my life, because I was expecting monogamous relationships. If they had said that to me, I would have slammed the door and ended the relationship, which is what I did once I found somebody was cheating on me or doing something against what we had agreed upon.
But I
ended the relationship.
Most people go into
ended the best relationships I could have ever had.
Well, most people go into it with good intentions.
Stupidity about monogamy.
Well, I think we shouldn't harp on that. I think we should harp on commitment and honesty. I think a lot of people go into it. And love
and respect. That's so important.
Very, very key.
You gotta the person you have to love and respect you
and like them.
Yes,
yeah. Because I think I love everybody. Now, I may not like everybody, but as a human being, I think we're supposed to love. I think that is our purpose on this earth, is to love and be loved, and to teach and learn. I think a lot of times we get sidetracked because of different things that are going on in our lives, but I understand that. But at the core, you always have to get back to what is important and what your purpose is. So with us talking about relationship, again, if the person comes to you and says, with every good intention, I do also practice monogamy. Now, if they are being honest with themselves and you, and somebody comes along and they're hot for them, now, how would you react? Now, we're thinking about at the time that you was going through these relationships, how would you react to this person if they would have came to you and said, even before they did it, I saw somebody, I think they hot, and I want to have sex with them?
No, well, I just said, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to see it. I want you to respect me. I don't want to hear about it.
But see, that's a form of respect, though. If I'm telling you how I'm feeling.
For Walter, because it's going to create a problem in my mind. Who is this person? What do they look like? Are they more attractive than me? See, it creates to me, because I've been down this path. So for me, for Walter, it works best for me that you keep that secret to yourself. Mm-hmm. You don't disrespect me and bring that person around me. You don't disrespect me and do something in our home. You don't disrespect me and do something where I may find out with a friend or a family member. Family member, can you imagine that? A friend. Family member, I'm gonna kill your ass. But that's how
it happens, though.
I know it happens. I have some funny parts. I met a guy many years ago who lives here. There's 7 brothers. They're all gay. They live here in Atlanta.
Oh, good God.
I know it. And so maybe
what does the parents say about that?
Child, that was some mess back then. But I want to go into Atlanta for a minute.
Okay.
Because you've been here just as long as I have lived in this wonderful city.
19 years, July 5th.
How do you like it?
I love Atlanta.
How do you like the gay lifestyle?
I love what it has to offer. So now for me now, you don't have to be long or be a part of anything that you don't want, because we're adults at the end of the day. That's how I feel. So we are adults. You don't have to entertain and engage yourself in anything that you don't want to do. There are a lot of gay people who don't do anything gay, and there are gay people who do everything gay. There are straight people who do gay things. So
do you find that you living in Atlanta, because there's so many gay men that live here, so many black gay men that you really can't get away from them. Even if you're not going to the clubs, going out to parties or functions, you still going to see gay men practically every day.
Right.
You're going to work with them. They're going to be your neighbors. How has your experience been overall living in the largest black gay city in the world?
Well, it can be overwhelming, I would say, and it has been from time to time. I've never been the type of person, for me personally, and again, that's why I preface, you can do whatever, you can engage in whatever activity you want to do, because it's here in this town to do it. But I've never been the type to club and party and do all of that anyway. So I was a homebody. So the fact that I may have had 20 gays in my neighborhood, when I really it didn't faze me as much. Yeah. But I like the fact that I had the ability to reach my hand out and grab one of them if I wanted to. That is and grab one of them if I wanted to. Yeah.
How have your relationships been here? Because you've lived here all this time, so I'm sure you've had a couple of relationships or one relationship. I'm not really sure.
Mm-hmm.
What have your relationships been like living in this environment? Have your relationships been peaceful? How would you describe your overall quality of your relationships versus if let's say you lived in another city, like you were somewhere else? Just did living in Atlanta, because I hear this so much, living in Atlanta, you can't be in a relationship. It's going to have an impact on your relationship.
Yeah.
Did living here have an impact on your relationship at all?
It wasn't the fact that I was living in Atlanta. I'm in my third relationship, so I want to kind of qualify for me what a relationship is. So for me, it's anything over a year. I don't classify anything unless it's at least over a year. So I've been in 3. This is my third and final. So, and the first one was 4 years and the second one was 5 years. And I don't think Atlanta or my environment had anything to do with the demise of the relationship. I think it had a lot to do with just, the two people that were in the relationship changing and our maturity level at that time. So I don't think Atlanta played any part in it, because you can be in a rural town and be gay and it not last.
Well, when we go on to the next video, I'm glad you brought up the subject of age, black gay men, because I'm very curious to know what you think about younger gays getting in relationships at 18, 19, 20 years of age, because that's a very period of time where life can be very stressful. You're going through a lot of changes. Is it a good idea to be in a relationship? I want you to think about it, and then give me your feedback when we go into the next video about the relationships here, because a lot of people want relationships.
Yeah.
A lot of people desire relationships.
And deserve one.
But is it a good idea at such a tender age?
Absolutely, but we'll talk about it.
Okay. So I'm sitting here with ARJE Jackson. Of course, I'm Walter Hampton.
Yes.
We're going to finish this up, and we're going to be right back, where we're going to do some more discussions about the black gay community living in Atlanta, and just having a decent conversation.
Yeah.
So, see you guys in a few minutes. We'll be right back.